finishing around 10 to 10. Is that okay? Are we all right with that? Obviously, if you need to go, go, but I want to give you the full hour. I've got a full hour's practice planned, so we might as well make use of it. So today, we're going to be looking at the thoracic spine and the rib cage in particular. So we know we carry a lot of tension in our neck and shoulders, but the thoracic spine is probably the part of our spine that moves the least. It's the bit that's attached to the rib cage. So anything below the between the tops of the collarbones down to where the rib cage would end, that's our thoracic spine there. So if you think about it, we get a lot of forward flexion in our thoracic spine, but in our day-to-day movement, there's less of this and certainly less of going back. So we're going to explore all of that and see how we can bring more mobility to it, which hopefully will also help free up the cervical spine. So, sorry, a little bit of anatomy and physiology to start your day, but I figure if you know what we're doing and why, it helps with you learning about your own body. So let's start in a seated position here, on a block if you've got one. So let's bring lots of length to the spine, lots of awareness of length to the spine. You don't have to sit with your legs crossed like I'm doing. Percy's come to join us for this today. Hello, Percy. So just coming to a nice awareness of your posture, lots of space between the vertebrae, lots of space between the tailbone, the coccyx, all the way up to the crown of your head. And let your shoulders be really heavy here. Slightly tuck the chin, which will elongate the cervical spine a little bit. And either close your eyes or lower your gaze. And let's just bring ourselves into the moment here. And just noticing how you feel this morning. Whether or not you feel a little tight or you've got aches in your neck and shoulders. Maybe you slept badly, or maybe you slept really well. Just noticing how things are and comparing with noticing how things usually are. This is all part of our yoga journey to become more familiar with ourselves within. Let's just check in with our bodies, making sure that along with the length we've created in our spine, that our shoulders are very heavy. Our hands are gently either resting on our knees or our thighs, or maybe just resting in our laps. Make sure there's no gripping in the fingertips. Just let them softly curl in towards the palms. And then notice your sitting bones and whether you're sitting evenly across the two sitting bones. So being really heavy in the pelvis, letting the thighs be heavy, noticing how the knees are, and the shins and calves. Now checking in with the feet, making sure you're not holding any unnecessary tension in your feet. Sometimes without realizing it, just by putting ourselves in a seated posture, it brings a little tension into the feet. And now let's turn our attention towards the breath. So making sure that the belly is loose, no tension in the abs at all. Just allowing the diaphragm to rise and fall with every breath. And really letting your breath take some space here. So make your breath expansive. Really let the body move with the breath. So noticing not only the rise and fall of the belly, but perhaps the expansion of the ribs. So bring your attention to the ribs and the movement that is created by the breath. Perhaps you can visualize the muscles between the ribs moving. Perhaps bring your attention to the back of the ribs. See if you can visualize, even if you can't actually feel it, the movement of the ribs in the back body. So much of our focus today is going to be around the movement of the rib cage. Trying to loosen off the 12 vertebrae that make up the thoracic spine. So just by having your awareness where that actually is. So all the ribs that feed into the spine at the back, each and every one of them has a muscle. We're really going to be looking at giving those a good old stretch today. So letting go of the awareness of the breath now. And I'm going to get you to come off your blocks, and we're going to come into child's pose. So a nice extended child's pose. Maybe if you are more comfortable by taking a wide-legged child's pose, then do that. But we want to come to an extended version of child's pose. So this is our first stretch into the thoracic spine today. We want to reach away with our fingertips, but be active on them. So bring your fingertips up like spiders here, and then just rest your forehead down on that. So your bum is towards your heels, and your arms are really stretched away. So we've got a lot of engagement in the shoulder girdle here. So really stretching away actively. Fingers are as far away as they will go. You're up on your fingertips. And just noticing how this stretch feels for you today. We've got lots of space between the bottom of the shoulder blades and the sacrum. You're perhaps aware of the stretch into the armpit. You're perhaps aware of the stretch out of the sacrum. So just noticing how it feels. If you need to dial it back a little, then do. Noticing if there's any tension here that you can breathe into. So just connecting with the breath while we're here, starting to explore what's happening in our bodies this morning. Walking the right fingertips over to join the left, and just flatten the left palm down onto the mat and rest the right palm on top of it. So we're now stretching the right side of the body here. One hand is on top of the other. Perhaps it's increasing the stretch at the hips for you as well. Again, reconnecting with the breath. Make sure you're not holding your breath here. Some warmth being created in the shoulder girdle. And then slowly let's walk that right hand back round to where it started. And then let the left hand follow until it comes to rest on top. So our upper body is curved round towards the right. Left palm is on top of right. Forehead is on the mat, and we're stretching all the way from the hips, creating space between the bottom of the left shoulder blade and the hip. Just connecting with the breath here, noticing how your breath is affected by the compression of your body in the shape. And then slowly, slowly, slowly bringing both hands back to the original starting position. Come up on your fingertips once more and really push actively into the fingertips as though you're trying to slide the top edge of your mat away. Just feel the engagement in the rotator cuff there in the top of your arm. You should feel a little more activity going on, and just connecting to that sensation and the breath. And then slowly let's walk the fingertips in towards the body until we're back to center again. So coming back into a kneeling position. And I need to take my socks off. If anyone else has got socks on, now might be a good time to take them off. So coming back around so that we are tucking our toes here, knees are together, and walking your hands back towards your knees. And we're going to give the plantar fascia underneath our feet a little bit of a stretch. If this is absolutely agonizing for you, just give it a moment and then release yourself off. Or maybe try in this kind of upright version here. We still want to give the underneath of our feet a stretch while we go through our moves with our shoulders and thoracic spine. But this is a really great one. If you can tolerate it, a little bit every day will give you a lot of flexibility in your feet, and hopefully will stop knee and hip issues coming in. It always starts with the feet. So just taking a moment here, seeing how that feels. And just taking a moment to bring the shoulders up, loop them round, back and down, noticing how they feel after we did those initial stretches on the mat. So we're just taking nice, slow, expansive movements, and then reverse the other way. Noticing if you've got any clunking. If you need to come off your feet, do, but if you can tolerate it, do. And then from here, bringing the hands out in front of you. Imagine that you're hugging a tree, really round through your spine. So as you can see, I've kind of gone into a bit of a C shape here. So we're collapsing in the abs, and then turn the hands outwards and really push away, and make sure your ears are between your biceps. So we're really pushing away actively here. Lots and lots of space between the shoulder blades. Connect with the breath. Make sure you're still breathing. And then slowly bring the arms down towards the legs. And then take the hands behind you. So clasping the hands behind you now. Reconnect with your posture. Lots of space between the vertebrae. And now we're going to raise the arms up. Just see where you get to here. Oh, Pauline's got a little helper. So raising the arms up, maybe your shape doesn't look like mine. It doesn't matter. Your body isn't mine. So what we're looking for here is quite an intense stretch across the front body. We're encouraging our hands up. So hands are clasped behind us, and we're just pushing away. Really nice and tall here. So nice, strong posture. Looks like we've got a dog session of yoga going on this morning, doesn't it, Perth? Hey, good boy. And then slowly let's release the hands and let's release our feet. So coming forward onto your hands here and really tapping your feet on the back of the mat. Giving a good old pat there. It should feel quite nice. And while we're in this all fours position, we're going to do a couple of rounds of cat count. I'm just going to tie my hair up because it's all over the show. So just setting yourself up so your wrists are below your shoulders, knees are beneath your hips. And before we go anywhere with this movement, just get to where you're feeling quite purposeful here. So we're not sloppy, we're not just here. We're here, our arms are nice and straight. We're looking down between our thumbs. Hands are spread like starfish, and we're in a fairly neutral position, but we've got engagement in our arms. So we're pushing the mat away, starting to really bring some intention here. Push the mat as hard as you can until you start to feel space between your shoulder blades, and then tuck the chin in. So we're in the angry cat version here. So really pushing actively away into the biceps, but also imagine that you're trying to get the inner creases of the elbows to come towards each other. That will bring the right engagement into your arm. It's quite strong. And then slowly start to reverse this. So chin comes up. We're starting to drop the belly and lengthen in the front body. Take the chin away. So we're putting our necks into flexion here, which is unusual. Usually we go the other way. So sticking your bum out here, still creating tension in the arms. So we're pushing the mat away, just noticing how this feels here. And then slowly, let's bring that back in. Chin all the way to the chest, pushing actively away with the hands on the mat, really pushing away strongly and yet trying to draw the elbow creases towards each other. And then last time, let's come back to cow position where our chins come forwards. We're stretching through our necks. Hips are high. Really feel the stretch in the front body. Nice and strong in the arms. Imagine you're trying to pull the palms apart on the mat. You're trying to slide them apart. That will bring the right engagement into your arms. And then back to neutral. So just taking a moment here in neutral, where your spine is neither doing one thing nor the other. And then bringing the right palm into the center of the mat here and making sure your body weight is being supported in the shoulder here. We're going to take the left arm up towards the ceiling. So if you check yourself out, hello Badger, if you check yourself out on your own screen, you should have a nice straight line between upturned palm and the one you're leaning on. So we're creating a bit of a twist here. It won't be much of a twist. And then slowly bringing the left palm down, place it in the center. And of course, we're going to do the same the other side. You might have more or less movement this side. Just noticing how it feels in your sacrum or your hips. And then slowly back to center and pushing yourself back into extended child's pose. So just taking a moment here to release everything out. You can let your forearms come to the mat, forehead comes to the mat. Really take this as a bit of a breather pose. And then pushing back up to all fours again. This time leaving the right hand exactly where it is. We're going to bring the left hand to the left ear with the elbow out, and then we're just going to twist. So we're trying to twist our elbow up. So again, we're trying to get this rotation of our rib cage. So palm comes to ear, and we're trying to dial the elbow up towards the ceiling. You won't go very far. So just finding your breath in this position, making sure you haven't dumped all the weight into your left hip. So trying to stay square in the hips. And then slowly take it back down, then take the hand down. And then let's see how we go on the other side. So taking the right palm to the right ears, and then dialing that elbow round and up. This is quite difficult, so notice where you're trying to compensate in the rest of your body, either by helping with your hips, and then back to center again. Rest that hand down, and let's take child's pose again. So really pushing away. Let your arms be quite passive now. Take this break. Connect with your breath. And then slowly, if you can grab your block, if your block is handy, you want it just in front of you, perhaps where your hands would have been if we were in cat-cow. And then take one elbow to the block, then the other, hands in prayer. Now, you can either do this in puppy pose, where your knees remain bent and your hips are stacked over your knees. What we're going to do is take the arms overhead, so like so, and then pushing away with the triceps as we bring the top of the head to the mat. This, you'll feel it in the shoulder girdle. So you can either be raised up like I am with your hips high, or you can come down into wide-legged child's pose and do it this way. Entirely up to you. But you want your elbows to be on the block and your head to be off the block. So you really feel the squeeze in your trapezius muscles, the ones that sit, the ones where you hold all the tension, just going into the shoulders there.
So really pushing away actively with the elbows. Feel that stretch into the triceps as well as the traps at the back. Connect with the breath here. And then slowly, slowly, slowly coming back and just resting. Yes, you're a very lovely boy. Go away. And coming to rest on your knees. If you can tolerate sitting on your bent knees, then do. You might want to pop your block in between your knees and stick your bum on that. However you want, however you can comfortably sit, either with your feet tucked or on your legs. Badger's determined to be involved today. So I've just turned to face you, so it's a little bit easier. So finding your length in your spine here, and let's take both arms out wide, either side, and then crossing your arms in front of you so the right arm is underneath. Then we're going to bend the right elbow and thumb our nose with the right thumb. And then taking the left hand, we're going to just swoop that round and try and get the palms to touch. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. If you can get the backs of your hands together, that's good enough. So right arm is underneath, we bend the right arm, then we just bend into the left arm and swing it around. If you can get them together, excellent. I will send you all medals. If you can't, it doesn't matter. And then from here, just taking a moment and feel what's going on in your shoulders. And then let's raise those arms up so that we are looking directly at our elbow creases. You should feel a lovely engagement in the back of your shoulders here. Lots and lots of space between the shoulder blades. You can feel it all the way into the rotator cuff and the deltoids here. So just noticing that lovely, you might suddenly be aware of how much tension you carry here or how tight you are in this position. So just noticing how things are. We're going to hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, and unknot yourselves. And just take a little shoulder roll here. First in one direction and then the other. Ooh. Hopefully you could all feel that. Thumbs up, thumbs down. And adjusting if you need to on however you're seated, you know, be comfortable while we're doing this. Of course, we need to do the other side now. So arms out to the side, just noticing how you feel. Make sure you haven't got your shoulders around your ears, so let them be dropped. And then as you bring them in front, left arm comes underneath, bend into the left elbow, swing the right one round if you can, or just bring the backs of the hands to meet. And then when we're set up in this tangled knot, just check in with the shoulders, sitting as tall as you possibly can, tucking the chin slightly. Let's raise those arms up until we're looking at the elbow creases. So just noticing, really try and pull both arms away so that you're bringing your arms forward, if you like. You'll feel the stretch even more intensely in the back of the shoulders here. Just noticing how this compares to the other side. So connecting with your breath, breathing with ease, really creating space between those shoulders. We're going to hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And ooh, release, unwind. Let's take the shoulders back and then bring them forwards. Fingertips up to collarbones. Have a nice straight line with your arms underneath. Make sure they're not up at an angle. So from elbow to elbow, we've got a nice straight line. I don't know if you can see Badger here, who's listening intently to every word. So just starting to draw circles with the elbows here, as wide and expansive as you can. So taking the elbows behind at the back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, all the way forward at the front. And then we are going to stop with the elbows in front of us and bring them together to touch, but make sure you can see over the tops of them. So we don't want to be wearing them around our shoulders, really slide them down here. So really creating lots of space between the shoulder blades here
And now let's take the elbows back as far behind us as we can. It won't be very far, but squeezing the shoulder blades together here, really opening through the front body. So we're giving the pecs a good old stretch here. And then just unwind and let them go. Right, you'll need your strap now. Got a couple of things to do with the strap. Just to make sure we really feel this later, that we've given our shoulders a good old work. You're a good boy. Right, so taking the strap over your, hold it with your right hand and chuck it over your right shoulder so that your right elbow is up, pointing straight up towards the ceiling. It's right next to your ear. So we're not out here like this. We're actually dialing the elbow around so it's facing the front. And then with your left hand, just reach behind you and find the end of the belt. Right, from this position, the right hand does nothing except hold on to the belt. So we're already set up where we're going on the right hand side. The left hand pulls down. So the pulling down, so sitting nice and tall here, tucking the chin, got lots of things going on. First of all, the tricep in the right arm is getting a really good stretch, but we're also stretching in the deltoid and the rotator cuff in the left arm. All leads into the shoulder joint. So having a really good old pull here, but don't hold your breath. So we don't want to be pulling so hard that we can't actually breathe. Always we're doing this with the breath. The breath tells you everything you need to know about the effort and the balance between effort and ease that we always need. So we're going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Ooh, just take whatever movement feels nice. Your body will know what it needs to do to release itself. And now we're going to go the other side. So taking the strap in the left hand, chucking it over the left shoulder, elbow comes right up towards the ceiling. You are sitting nice and tall, and you've got lift and length in your spine, and just reaching behind with the right arm, grabbing the strap here. So left arm does nothing more. You've got your elbow next to your ear, and just start to pull down gently with the right hand. Feel the stretch in the tricep here, all down the left side, and then you'll probably feel it into your right shoulder, the top of your upper arm. Just noticing how that feels. Have a little play with it, see if by pulling harder makes any difference. Where you're feeling it, you'll perhaps feel it into your bicep of your right arm if you pull really hard. So a couple more breaths here, and then release. Ooh. And just take a moment here. If you want to adjust how you're seated, obviously we've been in a seated position for quite a while now. If you're happy here, just stay here. You might just want to widen your feet or change how you're sitting. I'm going to do another exercise with the strap. So this time we're going to have the strap coming across our body like a seat belt. And so I've got my strap, I've left it over my left shoulder, and I've got it coming across my body towards my right hip. By my right hip, I've got my right hand. And then with my left hand, I'm just going to reach behind to grab the tail end. And all we're going to do here, this time both hands are active. Hopefully you're all set up, right? So we've got our seat belt coming from left shoulder to right hip. Right hand is on right hip holding the strap. Left hand is behind. And we're now going to pull with both hands. So really imagine that you're trying to squeeze your shoulder blades together here, and you will feel the stretch across the deltoid in the left shoulder here. So left hand, you're trying to pull towards the left, but down as well, down and left. Right hand is pulling down and right. So we're going in opposing. Pauline's getting some help from her little doggy friend, who I don't recognise. She's going to have to tell me who it is later. So just pulling there, sitting nice and tall, opening through the front body. Perhaps you can feel this in the wrists. And then slowly release. Let's just give the wrists a little bit of a circle round here. And then let's swap to the other side. So take the seatbelt over the other shoulder. And right hand comes behind, left hand is by left hip. And let's slowly pull in either direction. So with the left hand, we're pulling towards the left hip. The right hand, we're pulling towards the right heel, if you like, if your feet are behind you. And in fact, from here, I didn't give this cue last time, but take your head in the same direction as, first of all, the shoulder that's behind. Notice that stretch in this side. This is really intensified by that. So heads are over towards the right shoulder. And then slowly bring it center and bring it towards the left. And just notice when you apply the tension on your belt, where you're actually feeling that. And then up to center. We better do that the other side because we didn't do the next stretch. So swapping the belt back over so it's coming from left to right. So right hand is in front, left hand behind, just starting to apply a bit of tension. And now let's take the head over to the left. So probably you're most aware of it in your traps on your left. You can feel the tension on your traps. And then slowly up to center, and then let's take it the other way. Ooh, I can feel that. And release. Ooh. And just take a few wrist circles, whatever feels nice here for your hands. We're going to put the strap to one side now. And however you're sitting, just come off your block for a minute. Give your legs a bit of a, stretch your legs out in front of you. Give them a good old pat out on the back. Really give those hamstrings a little bit of love and a bit of strength, stretching here. And then you need to have your block handy. Mine's a cross between a block and a cushion. I've got about 15 blocks at home, if not more. I've got a single one here, apart from this cushion. So setting your block next to your left hip and sweeping your feet round to the right. So we're going to be sitting with knees heading left. We do this lots of times in restorative yoga with our bolster, where we turn to hug our bolster. We're not doing any of that today. So nothing nice and cozy about today's practice. And just bring your left arm to rest on top of the block here. Set yourselves up nice and tall. Imagine that you are pretty much squarely weighted in both your sitting bones here. Maybe sliding the block away a little, so you're kind of nonchalantly leaning into the block. So we're not looking for great posture here. We're just looking for, so we're on our left hip here. And then bringing the right arm up, really growing tall here. Then we're going to bring the right arm in front of us as though we're reaching forward to stretch somebody's hand. Now immediately you should feel that we have engaged in the shoulder blade region here. We've protracted the right shoulder, the left shoulder has gone back. We've got a little bit of torsion going on in our rib cage. So we're kind of reaching towards the left corner, if you like. And then we're going to sweep that arm round. So we're starting to get a little bit of dynamic movement in this rib cage now. So the arm stays at the same height. So let your head and neck follow the trajectory. I can't say that today. I've got my teeth in. So follow the hand and really just work through noticing what you're feeling with the movement of the rib cage here. You'll notice where you've got some tight spots. It'll probably become even more apparent when we switch sides. So one more round towards the left. Let's just hold it there for a minute. So we're cranked round here. We've got lots of space between the shoulder blades here. The right shoulder blade is totally open, and then we're slowly going to bring it back to center. Bring it up overhead. Find your lift and length, and then bring it down. Ooh. And then give that a little wind out, forward and back, forward and back. And let's see how we go on the other side. So swap your block around. Bring your knees to rest the other side. You can have them however you want them. But it's just kind of so we're already sending our body in one direction. Put your right hand on the block here. Just push it away a little bit so you're kind of at an angle. And then let's just reach forward with the left hand. So already we're starting to protract the left shoulder blade. And then let's take it up here, find lift and length, bring it down again, and then just sweep it round and back again. Try not to dip into the hips while you're doing this. There's a tendency to collapse it. We only want the rib cage and the arm to be working here. So everything else stays quite still, but we've got, this is called an axial rotation, where if you can imagine our spine is staying exactly where it is, but there's movement going on around it. It's like a twizzling around the spine. So just noticing how this feels on this side. Maybe you're tighter, maybe you've got more movement. Let's just stop in that far away stretch. Really kind of drop the shoulder away from the ear here. We've got lots of space. And then slowly back to center. And then let's take it all the way up, really reach away here. So pulling out of the hips and slowly bringing the arm down. Ooh. And then taking whatever movement would feel nice. We've done some quite intense stretches with the shoulders. Hopefully you'll be feeling that later, just to remind you. And then very slowly coming back to that lovely, lovely Vajrasana, hero's pose, where we tuck our toes, walking the hands in towards the thighs, coming up onto tall thighs here, keeping the toes tucked. Just going to take a little counter posture for the sitting position we've been in. And then slowly, slowly, again with this axial rotation. So lift and lengthen first. And we're going to turn. We're going to peel our left shoulder back so that we're looking at our left heel. We're going to bring our left fingertips down towards the left heel. If you can't get to your left heel, don't worry about it. This is the important bit. So even if you have your arms up, that's good enough. If you can touch your left heel, extra brownie points to you. And we're just going to take a moment here. If that feels okay, you can lift and lengthen with the right arm. This should feel like quite a nice counter posture to what we've just been doing. So we've got that lovely twist in the whole rib basket. We've twizzled it around. Then slowly lower that arm if you've got it up. Slowly come back up to center, round to the other side, onto all fours. Give your feet a pat. And then tuck your toes again. Make sure the little toes on the mat as well. The little toe often gets missed out. So you might have to pick it up and put it down. Hands come up to the thighs. Let's come up nice and tall into our camel position. So find your lift and length here. Tuck the chin slightly. And let's take that right shoulder back till we are twisting our rib cage round in the opposite direction. Looking towards the right heel. Maybe right fingertips come to right heel, maybe they don't. Maybe you just want to have your arms up straight. If you can reach your right heel, then let's take the left hand up as well. So really stretching away as we look behind. We've got our hips in a little bit of extension here. Maybe you want to just see if you can take the hips a little bit further forward. So imagine you're pushing your hips forward. Maybe you're squeezing on your glutes. And then slowly arm comes down. We come back to center. Onto your hands. Let's pat the feet. Slowly back, tucking the toes, walking the hands back towards the feet. This time we're going to roll onto the feet from the toes. And we're just going to take a moment here in this goddess squat. I'm going to turn around. So for some of you, your heels might be up. That's fine. It doesn't matter. You can always put a block behind your heels, or you might be able to get your feet flat depending on how how your body is constructed. We're all different. There are some things you just cannot train your way into. I've spoken about this a lot before. A lot of it is genetic privilege. Sometimes we're born with it. Sometimes it's Maybelline. So just finding where you are in your squat, either with heels up, heels down, whatever's comfortable, and taking your elbows to your knees, just give them a little squeeze apart. So hands are in prayer for a moment. And then taking the right hand down to the floor, just in front of the right foot. We're going to take the left elbow up. You'll see where we're going with this. Use the right elbow to push the right knee. And then we're going to take that left arm up. So we've got this lovely twist in the thoracic spine here. Lots going on in the hips. Really opening out in the inner thighs. Just taking a moment here. Maybe from here, if you feel reasonably comfortable, let's bend that arm behind us to take that left shoulder even further back. So we're getting even more opening here. If you can, grab the right thigh. I don't know if you can see, if you can get the hand all the way behind you, grab your right thigh, which really opens the body up. If you can't, it doesn't matter. You won't be getting any less of a stretch here. And then slowly let's take that arm back up and bring it down. And let's just take a moment waggling from side to side to just bring a little bit of relief and release into the hips here. And then coming back to rest where you were, hands come back to prayer, heels are up or down, pressing into the left knee with left elbow. Let's take the left hand down just by the big toe here. And then let's take the right elbow up as we turn, really pushing it into the left knee here. And then maybe taking a stretch. It might be quite different on this side, the stretch. Excellent job. Lots of little frogs going on here. And if you want to bend into that right elbow, take it behind you and grab your left thigh, then fill your boots. Take that extra twist. So what we're trying to do by taking the arm behind us is to open the right shoulder even more. So we're taking the right shoulder behind. And then if you're there, let's bring the arm back up. Slowly bring it back round to the front. Let's take that little relief here from side to side. And then slowly bringing the feet together. Big toes to touch, tuck the chin right in, and we're slowly with knees bent going to come up to standing. So keeping the chin tucked in, knees stay bent. Coming all the way up until we're standing. Lovely job, everyone all right? Oh, that's quite a relief, isn't it, to be standing here. So I'm going to turn and face you again so you can see what's going on. So feet are about hip width apart here. And we're going to cross our arms over our shoulders. So just take a moment to set yourself up. Give your pelvis a little squeeze. Make sure that hips are over ankles, shoulders are over hips. Nice and tall and long in the spine. Noticing which arm you've got in front. This is your favoured way of doing things, so we're going to swap it in a minute. And from here, we're going to start just stirring the pot. So coming all the way down and taking your right elbow, or whichever elbow's on top, towards the same side knee. And then back round again. So we're doing these kind of circles or undulations with our rib cage. We're trying to isolate what's going on with the ribs here. So moving the elbows, if you like, that get the movement. Just come in so you're fully upright, because I haven't explained that very well, but just moving around from side to side gently, leading with the elbows. So we're making sure it's the thoracic spine that's being involved. We're isolating the ribs. And then taking, if you've got your right elbow on top, take the right elbow towards the right hip. So we're just
taking a bit of a lateral bend here. Obviously, if it's to the left, take it to the left. We're going to go both sides. And then up to center. And then we're going to take the stretch to the other side. So whichever elbow is on top, it will probably feel more comfortable when you go to the same side of the hip. Then up to center again. Let's swap the crossover so that the other elbow is on top. And then take a stretch to the same side, noticing how much movement you've got here. And then over to the other side. So just noticing how that feels. And up to center. Now making yourself as tall as you can, chin is slightly tucked. We're going to leave the hips where they are. In fact, bend into your knees a little bit and just take the elbows left. And then bring them back to center and take them right. So hopefully you can really feel this in the shoulder that's leading, if you like. Once more either side, to left, center, and then to right. And center, and release. Right, coming to the front of your mat, in fact, move my block out of the way. Just setting yourself up nice and tall, chin is slightly tucked, feet are about hip width apart. And then slowly tucking the chin, getting to the point where you're just starting to roll from your thoracic spine, so you know where the rib cage starts at the top here. Let your shoulders and arms be really passive and heavy here. So already the hamstrings have started to take over. Let's bend a little bit into our knees. Let the arms just dangle here. So I really want gravity to open the shoulder girdle here. You've got lots of space. The shoulder blades have just dropped round to either side as we start to make our way down. So arms are completely passive, dangling, knees are still bent. So what I want is hips high here. We're still getting the stretch from our glutes into our hamstrings. So we've taken the stress out of our hamstrings by locking our knees out, but we can still have an effective stretch by keeping the knees slightly bent. Let the arms be really heavy. Maybe they reach the mat, maybe they don't. And let's grab elbows here. Tuck your head right in so you're looking between your knees. And let's just take a little twist from side to side. Noticing how we're feeling, letting the arms really dangle here. And then letting both hands releasing from the elbows. Setting both hands down just slightly in front of the feet. We're going to step back with the left foot and set the knee down so that we're in a low lunge. So just coming to where both legs are at a right angles here. One is behind, one is in front. And maybe just checking that you are well balanced here. You don't want to be on a line where you're wobbly, so maybe taking your right foot a little bit wider. Just setting yourself up here, tucking the pelvis under, looping the shoulders round and back. Hopefully the shoulders are starting to feel like they're quite loose now. And nice and tall. Let's bring the elbows up. This is what they look like. So we look like goalposts or cactus arms here. And then take a turn towards the right, keeping your arms where they are. So again, we're involving this axial rotation of the spine here. Just turning the rib cage round towards the right. You can perhaps notice this into your right hip. And then slowly coming back to center. And let's feel see how it feels when we turn in this open twist. So we've got an open twist to the left here, closed twist to the right. Let's go once more to the right, to a closed twist, back to center, open twist on the left, and back to center. This time let's bring the hands together in prayer.
Now we often do this one and we hook the elbow over the knee. This time we're not going to take the elbow over the knee. We're going to hover the elbow. What I want you to do is to, let me face front, is get to the point where you are almost at the knee, but we are in that rotation without using the torsion against the knee. So just looking all the way behind at the elbow behind us here, seeing how that feels in the traps on the left-hand side. Imagine you're squeezing the inner thighs towards each other, so everything's active here. Now rest that left elbow over the right knee and use that little bit of torsion there to create a bit of extra twist round towards the right. Really pull that left ear away from the shoulder. And slowly, slowly, slowly come back to center. Let me get myself on the right way on the mat. We're going to lift the back leg and we're going to step it towards the front foot. So we're hanging in this forward fold again. Belly is on thighs. Tuck the chin right in. Slowly, slowly, slowly roll all the way up. Loop the shoulders round and back. And down we go again. So tucking the chin right in. Let the shoulders and arms be really heavy here. Let gravity do all the work. Hands are just dangling towards the floor. No rush to get there. Looking back between our knees. All the way down. Get to where you get to. Hands come just in front of the feet again. This time we're going to step back with the right foot. And come down onto the right knee and come into our low lunge. So both legs are in the right angle. Check that you're not on a tight rope here. Taking a moment to scoop the pelvis under, loop the shoulders round and back. Then let's bring our hands up into this groovy little cactus shape again, or goalpost arms. And then from here, we'll take our closed twist first. So we're going to go round to the left. Just noticing how this feels on this side. Noticing whether or not you have a tendency to drop the left shoulder. Connect with your breath. Slowly back through center. And this time, let's take an open twist towards the right. That probably feels a lot more comfortable. Notice what's happening with the left knee. Try and have it tracking towards the left here so it doesn't swing in. Back to center. Let's do another closed twist. Back to center. Open twist. So we're really getting a lot of movement in the rib cage now. Back to center. Hands come together in prayer. I'll get to turn around so you can see it from this side. Hands come together in prayer. We're going to bring our hands. So hands, when they're in prayer, we want them facing forwards like so. Left elbow is behind us. It's not up here. It's behind us. It's straight. It's as though we're about to place this elbow on the knee, but we're not going to. We're going to hover here. We're going to look over towards the left elbow. Fingertips are pointing towards our chin. We're looking back. We're trying to create space between the ear and the shoulder. Got this little twist going on. And then let's rest that elbow down on that knee and use the extra tension there to get a little bit more of a twist. So really create that space between ear and shoulder. And then slowly coming back round to center. Hands come down on the mat. This time we're going to tuck the back toes. We're going to come back on the back foot. We're going to step back on the right toes. And we're going to walk our hands up towards our feet. Again, bending as generously as you need to. No straight legs in this practice today. Just let your belly hover on your thighs. Slowly roll up. Oh, how are we doing? Okay. Oh, I've got so much more I want to do. We're going to run out of time. Right, let's step back to the front of our mat. We're going to roll down once more.
Chin comes all the way in. Shoulders and arms are really heavy. Let's go all the way down, bending into the knees so we don't stress the hamstrings. We haven't done a lot of warming up in the legs today. And this time we're going to step back with our left foot, but we're not going to rest the knee down. So really make sure you've got good width so that left foot is towards left side of the mat, right foot is towards right side of the mat. We're going to stay up on this back foot. So we're up on the toes here. Then leaving the left hand on the mat, we are going to take the right arm up. So you'll feel this in the outside edge of your right hip, glute, stretching up to look up at that palm. And then slowly bringing that hand down. And find where your belly is resting on your front knee here. And slowly come up till we're in a high lunge. So you might need to bend your knee here in the back and then straighten it. We want front leg bent, back leg straight. Back toes are all tracking towards the front of the mat. And from here, we're going to take the arms up and just take a tiny bit of a back bend here. And then we're going to bring them down into those cactus arms. Take an open twist towards the left, back to center, and this time, I can't open my arms wide, but open your arms wide, and then right arm comes underneath left, and look what we're doing. We're going to do eagle arms here. So coming back to tying your arms in a knot. If you're wobbling a bit, Shona, try taking your back foot a little bit wider. Yeah, to the side of the mat, that's it. So having our eagle arms here, setting up, and let's just lift those elbows up. So we're looking at the elbow creases, really pushing away into the back heel. Lots and lots going on here. Slowly lower the arms, unwind, hands come back to mat. Step back into plank here, taking a moment in plank, dropping to knees. Untucking the feet, slowly lowering all the way down. Slowly pushing up into a baby cobra. Taking the heels, bum back towards the heels. Tucking the toes all the way up. Let's walk the hands towards the feet. Slowly all the way up to standing. When we're here, rolling all the way down again, tucking the chin in, walking the hands forward, so having a bend in those knees, walking the hands forward, and this time we're going to look towards the hands here and step the left foot forward and extend the right foot. So we're in this high lunge here, like a runner's starting block, if you like. Make sure your right foot is towards the right edge of your mat. And then from here, slowly come up into high lunge. So we've got our right leg stretched away long, really pressing into the heel here. Nice engagement in the hamstring. If you're having a wobble, just try and widen your feet on the mat. Then let's take the arms up. Really let the shoulder blades slide down here. Make sure you're not wearing them around your ears. And then let's take the cactus twist. We'll take an open twist first. Back to center. Closed twist. It's a lot more difficult like this. Back to center. Arms come out to the sides. This time the left arm comes underneath. Let's find our cactus arms. Sorry, our eagle arms. When we've got ourselves tied into a little knot, just raise the elbows up so you really feel that engagement. Whether your palms are together or your backs of your hands are together, really squeeze against each other there as you lift the elbows up. Spike that back leg away, the heel. Slowly, slowly, slowly lower the elbows. Let's bring the hands down to the mat. Step the left foot back, lower to knees. Wing the elbows in, lower all the way down to the mat. Back up for a small cobra here. And then push your bums back towards your heels. And let's take child's pose. So really use this to stretch your shoulders away. Have a little break here. Find what your body really wants to do. And then pressing into the hands here, starting to bring the body weight forward. Creep the hands away. We're coming down to lay on our bellies here. So slowly just easing down. No pressure or strain. Coming down so you're on your bellies. And we're going to lay both arms with the backs of our hands on the mat, forehead on the mat so the chin is tucked in. Just taking a moment here. Pressing into the backs of the feet, the thighs, and the pubic bone. And just raise the rib cage off the mat. So we're still looking right down. You might not be able to get it all the way off, but imagine you're just trying to lift your ribs off the mat here. Shoulders are squeezed towards each other. Don't hold your breath, and let's go down again. Take a moment here. So we're getting a stretch in our hip flexors. We're still working on the thoracic spine here, taking it into extension, which it doesn't get to do very often. It's all good. So looking down at the mat again, and this time as we come up, really send your fingertips towards your heels. We're still looking directly down. See if you can get the rib cage off the mat here. Squeeze the shoulders together. Really stretch away with the fingertips towards the heels. And slowly down you go. We're going to do that one more time. So when you're ready, big inhale. Use the inhale to help raise you up. So squeezing the shoulders together, sending the fingertips towards the heels, really pushing down into the pubic bone and the tops of the feet, looking directly down, and release. Bring both hands round to the front, make a little pillow with your palms, rest your forehead, and perhaps take a little roll from hip to hip here. See how that feels. And then from here, stretching both arms away from your body at shoulder height. So you're laying in this prone cross shape. You've got your arms away at shoulder height. Bring your right hand next to your armpit as though you're about to push yourself up into cobra, and start to roll onto your left hip. So what we're doing, we're rolling into the left shoulder joint. So just taking it really easy here if you know you've had shoulder issues all your time. And use your right foot to balance you there. You'll know when you've gone far enough. Prop yourself up on your right fingertips. So we're rolling away from, we're getting our bodies off the mat and rolling towards the left arm, which of course is trapped underneath us. So just seeing how that feels. Head is off the mat, or you can lay it gently down once you're there. And then let's slowly let the right knee come down as we roll our bodies back onto the mat. Roll all the way around. This time we're going to stretch the right arm away. We're going to bring our left hand in towards the mat and start to roll out of the body on the left hand side. So we're rolling onto the right hip. The right arm is stretched behind us. We're up on the left fingertips or on the palm, using the left leg just to balance us here. So we really open that right rotator cuff, giving a good old stretch there. And then slowly, slowly, slowly rolling back onto your belly as we roll back out of that shape. Hands come to the mat. bring yourselves back up and over into child's pose. This time, bring your arms behind you and let your arms be quite passive on the mat behind you. Fingertips find your feet. Let your shoulders be really heavy here. Just let them open with gravity. Just notice how you're feeling. We've really done a thorough workout in the thoracic spine. And now, slowly and carefully coming up, grabbing your block and coming to lay on your right side. So we want knees bent with the block in between the knees. We're going to lower ourselves down and we're going to have both arms in front of us. Head can either be down on the floor or you can have it slightly up. Hopefully you can see me. I'm a bit in darkness there. So I've got my block wedged between my knees here. I'm quite comfy. Right side of the body is on the mat. Left shoulder, we're kind of reaching away with the left fingertips here. So we're still protracted in the left shoulder blade. And now we're just going to lift it all the way up and behind, seeing what range of movement we've got there. And then bringing it all the way forward again, trying to stretch beyond the right fingertips. So where we started with our palms together, we're trying to get the left palm slightly in front. You'll feel the engagement. Then let's go take it all the way back again. Take it as far back as you can get it. So full range of movement in that shoulder, all the way forward again. Try and get those fingertips a little bit further forward. Last time, let's take it all the way back. And all the way forward. Just breathing there, noticing how that feels. We're at full stretch with the left fingertips. And then slowly bring that hand in. Take a moment, and then we're going to go to the other side. So shifting yourself over in whatever way is easiest for you to get onto your left side. Block comes between the shins or the thighs, whatever's most comfortable. Laying on the left-hand side now. Left arm is outstretched. Sorry, I'm going to adjust my camera. I'm suddenly aware that you can't see a whole lot there. Okay, so we're laying on the left side now. Left arm is stretched away. Right arm comes on top. So let's find that engagement in the right shoulder blade here. Really stretch away with the fingers. And then let's take that arm open and all the way behind us. We can follow with our gaze if we want to, whatever feels good. And then all the way back over. Let's try and reach a little bit further than the left hand with the right fingertips. So hopefully you can feel it all in the rhomboid area now. Let's open all the way back up and open. Let's close again. Stretch those fingers away, really stretch those fingers away. Last time, open. And last time, close. See if you can rest the right palm down without touching any of the fingers on the left hand. So we've reached beyond that arm. And then slowly, slowly, slowly moving your block out of the way. And let's come to laying down on our backs in a supine position. Finally, they all say, finally. So our last little bit of work here. Crossing the arms over the shoulders. So knees are bent here. Soles of the feet are on the mat. This time bringing an awareness to your ab muscles and curling the pelvis slightly in towards the body. We're going to take the right elbow towards the right hip. So we're trying to peel our shoulders off the mat. Taking the elbows towards the right hip. And then slowly rocking back round through center. And then we're going to lift the left shoulders up as we take the elbows over towards the left hip. So try not to hold your breath here. And then slowly rolling down through center. Let's come back round one more time to right. So again, we're nice and open between the shoulders. Back round through centre, last time to left. Ooh, this is a toughie. And all the way down and release. Slide one leg away, then the other leg away. Both arms up and overhead. And really point away with your toes, stretch away with your fingers here. Have a full body stretch. Stretch, 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 stretch. And then leaving your limbs where they are, creep your heels over to the left corner of your mat and your fingertips over to the left corner of your mat. So you're in this big banana shape. So torsos are in the center of the, somebody's camera's just fallen over. So torso is in the center of the mat, fingertips and toes are all heading left. And head is bent over towards the left. And then slowly let's bring the fingertips center, heels to center. And then fingertips over to the right corner of the mat, heels over to the right corner of the mat. And let's take this lovely thoracic stretch and twist over to the right hand side. Lots of space between the left hip and the bottom of the rib cage. And then back to center, stretch away long. And then bend into left knee, right knee. Find the edge of the mat with both of your feet. Hands come back overhead, just rest by your side. And we're going to windscreen wiper the knees. So just let them slowly go from one side to the other. Just seeing where we get to. And the next time your knees come over to the left, just let them find where they want to rest. If that feels okay, let's take the left ankle and place it on top of the right thigh and just let the weight and gravity pull that right hip into a little bit more internal rotation. So you'll feel this quite strongly in the right hip. If that doesn't feel good, take the foot off, just be where you were. Just breathing for a minute here. And then releasing the top ankle, slowly bringing both knees up to center, and then taking them all the way over to the other side, noticing how it feels on this side. We haven't done much hip work today. And then maybe putting the right ankle on top of the left thigh and feeling the twist. Again, we're involving the thoracic spine here. We're twisting from the hips, so we've got the hips and the ribs in slightly different directions. Laying your neck wherever you feel you want it to be. Either you want to create even more twist by looking towards the left. Maybe you're quite happy for it to be passive in the center. Your choice. We've done a lot of work today. And then slowly unhooking that ankle and bringing both knees back to the middle of the mat. One knee over your chest and the other. And let's just take a little massaging of the lower back here. And then just taking your left hand, feed it inside of both knees and then grab the outside of the left foot. So we're holding left foot with left hand, but the elbow is inside the knee. And then with the left leg, try and straighten the left leg, and with the left arm, stop it from doing that. So we've got a bit of a pull and a push, pull and a push, pull and a push. Notice how this is working into your shoulder. And then release. Now let's go on the other side. So this is a half happy baby, if you like. So we're pushing and we're pulling. We're pushing with the leg, pulling with the shoulder, all the way around. And release. Slowly taking one foot to the mat, then the other. Slowly take one leg away long, then the other. And then the last thing, we're going to take Shavasana. If you can grab your block and place it between your shoulder blades. So you don't want your head on it. You just want your rib cage to be supported by this block. Now, it's probably best to have it between your shoulder blades
lengthways rather than sideways, but play with it because you need to be reasonably comfortable. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes. So head is off the block and tilted back. So we've got a nice stretch in our throat, but the shoulders are giving into gravity. They're open. We've got an external rotation in the shoulders. Knees are bent, palms are upturned. So just, if you can't get comfy like this, for goodness sake, don't worry about it too much. But if you can lay like this, imagine you're trying to squeeze your shoulder blades together, squeezing the block underneath you, and then just let everything go. So we're taking Shavasana here today. Maybe you want to stretch your legs away long, maybe not. And let's just try and tune into the breath for the last few moments of the practice. Seeing if we can be aware of the buzz of energy that's going around our bodies at the moment. All the bits that we've opened and warmed, and mobilized. Notice how the breath is moving in the places that we've worked today. And just seeing if we can slow the exhale a little. So doing a quick check-in, releasing any tension in the forehead, the eyelids, the cheeks, the jaw, the throat. The shoulders, just let the shoulders be heavy here. Let them release. And thinking about the back body where it's meeting the mat. Back of the sacrum. Our thighs, our knees, our shins, our heels, soles of our feet. All 10 toes, tops of the feet, ankles, all the way back up the legs to the hips, the hip flexors, the hip bones, the soft belly, and the rib cage. Good old rib cage has had such a workout today. Hopefully you'll feel the benefits of that later, if not now. And then the arms, the tops of the arms. They've done a lot of work today. The biceps, the triceps, the elbows, the forearms, backs of the hands, palms, and all 10 fingers and thumbs. And then slowly bringing your awareness to rest at your heart center. And slowly and mindfully just rolling slightly to release the block that's beneath you, if it's still beneath you. And just take a moment to let your spine find its own natural curves in the mat once more. Maybe you need to tilt your pelvis forward and back, squash it into the mat. And then slowly come to rest on your right hand side. Just for a breath or two, we're letting the blood pressure equalize. And then slowly bringing yourself up to a seated position. So gaze is still lowered, our eyes are closed, up to you. Let's bring our palms to meet at our heart centers. Let's just apply a little bit of pressure here, feeling for the last time, bringing our awareness to the shoulders and how hard they've worked today. And then bowing our heads in acknowledgement for the time that we set aside for self-care and our practice today. And just to have that awareness of how truly amazing our bodies are and how hard they can work when we task them to. Thank you so much for your practice today.